Hey Tim, happy Wednesday. How are you?
I'm well. Halfway to the end of the week.
I know, it's
Doesn't get any
amazing.
better.
I know, it's amazing how fast they go.
Mm.
This is our first time to have a guest on our Keeping It Real session, so I am really pleased to introduce David Simpson to everybody. I've actually got an uncle called David Simpson, but it's not this David. And David is a senior inspector with Fair Trading, and with him is Daryl McIntyre. Come on, wave to us, Daryl.
Can you wave?
Can you wave? Come on. There he is.
There he is.
He can wave, but he can't hear.
Yeah.
He's camera shy.
A little bit. And Daryl is the programs, the manager of the programs team. And so we've got David with us today to talk about the COVID safety plan and the inspections or the compliance program that is being conducted around that. So David, what are you trying to achieve with this plan?
The compliance program is looking at working with the industry to ensure that everybody's aware of what their requirements are with regards to having a COVID-19 safety plan and helping helping traders get it to where it needs to be if it's not 100% correct, and then measuring that compliance by going out and attending open homes and auctions to ensure that it's being implemented actually out in the field.
Okay. And so your team will be out in the field going to opens and auctions. And so what are they going to actually be looking for and asking the agents to provide?
Okay, the agents will be asked to provide a current completed COVID-19 safety plan.
Okay.
So they need to have that.
Can that be electronic? Can they show it to you
save
on
it
their phone?
Yeah, that's fine. They just need to be able to produce the COVID safety plan.
Yeah.
So many of them that we've had dealings, not real estate agents, but licensed restaurants and cafes, they'll have it on an iPad.
Yeah, okay.
So they'll have it saved electronically. So as long as it's completed and it's up to date, that's what we need to see, and they need to have it upon request, which in the instances of open homes and auctions, it'll be at the auction home or the premises where the open home is.
And does it need to be registered?
No, it's not mandatory for it to be registered.
Okay.
It is a good idea for it to be registered, because if you're registered, you get to receive updates from the government of any changes that happen.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for instance, when they changed the physical distancing from one person every 4 square metres to one person every 2 square metres, if you were registered, you would have got notified of that via email automatically. Otherwise, you'll have to hear about it through the media or going onto the website yourself.
And that's the case now. It's 2 square metres, not 4.
That's with outdoor dining.
Okay.
It doesn't apply to. It's not that I'm aware of. Does it apply?
No, I hadn't heard. That's all I was. It is hard to keep up though, right?
Yeah, so that's really good to know that, David, because there is so much changing in this area. I mean, I know that Leanne and I were really struggling to keep up with it. At one stage there, it was typically changing on Friday afternoon, week after week after week, I think.
Oh, look, 100%.
Yeah, so it is good that if you register the plan, that somebody's doing that job for you and sending it through. So it's good.
Sense.
And I suppose the government also provides us with a generic plan, so that I think most people are adopting and then modifying for their own circumstances. So if that does change, I assume that that generic plan will also be updated and you get access to that straight away as well.
That's correct. I mean, with regards to licensed restaurants and cafes, the plan has changed probably 2 to 3 times since it first came out. The most recent version for auctions and open homes, I think, is dated July, so it hasn't changed. But if it was to change, once again, you'd receive notification if you're registered.
Now, do we need a safety plan for each auction and each open home, or can we have one plan that covers all of those things?
Just one plan.
Okay.
One plan per corporation licence.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah.
And so the plan can be the same for opens and auctions?
Yes. I mean, look, the difference you'll find with regards, the difference between auctions and open homes is probably the volume of people will be different. And you've got, with regards to auctions, you've got potentially large groups of people standing in someone's front yard. leading up to the auction starting, during the auction, and when it finishes. So the people that the agent's responsible for, we'd be looking at is with regards to registered bidders. So if you had 200 people turn up to an auction, okay, and there's only 10 registered bidders, the agent's not going to be responsible for 200 people. Okay, what the agent would need to do is the front yard, for argument's sake. That's going to be their area that they're responsible for. So only registered bidders are in that area. Right. Everybody else is out on the street.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. When I was talking to David about this earlier, Leanne, when I saw the importance of getting David on, he said to me, "Look, I'm going to try and explain to you what they're trying to prevent." And he said, "I don't want to see anything like a Cold Chisel concert." And where everybody's standing up the front. And I said, "Mate, I tried so hard to get to the front of a child."
That's it.
Absolutely, didn't we?
Yeah, didn't we all?
Mosh pit. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. David, do we need, because there's some discussion about this also, do we need a COVID marshal?
No, it's not mandatory, but it doesn't hurt to have one. I mean, especially with regards to auctions. I mean, if you've got the auctioneer, he's probably got his hands full, or they've probably got their hands full doing, taking bids. You've probably got somebody there recording the bids. They don't want to be distracted by making sure that people are physically distancing correctly. So whilst it's not mandatory, it's something that agents would definitely find beneficial should they choose to do it.
Particularly, mandatory. I mean, we know when there's been a lot of contracts issued and there's a lot of interest, we know when we're going to have a really popular auction. And so if you know that it's going to be attracting a lot of bidders and a lot of local neighbourhood interest, then it is smart. It's smart 100%. To do that, right? Yeah.
And look, the thing the agents need to be mindful of is quite often people will video, just if they're people just looking, they'll video it. And if it gets uploaded onto social media or it gets uploaded onto just the normal media pick it up, and you're on the 6 o'clock news and there's 300 people in someone's front yard at an auction and there's real estate signage all over it, well, that real estate agent's going to have a few questions to answer.
David, it's not consumers that we need to worry about videoing it, it's the agents that video it and upload it themselves. So I'm so glad you made that point. So you will be looking at social media and media in general, just to make sure that the rules are being followed, right?
Potentially, yes. I mean, if we received, and it's not uncommon for us to receive those reports, and we'll have a look at those when they come through. But agents just need to be mindful of that.
Yeah, it's a really, really
actually, David, this is a good segue into some of the other problems that we see, that we get over-officious people who turn up at an auction or an open and they decide that they've got a right to be able to decide whether or not the property, I'm sure it happens in restaurants as well, whether or not people are conducting themselves safely. So we have had instances where members of the public have turned up and said, "I want to see your COVID safety plan." Do we have to provide that to them?
No. There's folks that are authorised under the New South Wales Public Health Act. They'll show you their authorisation, or they'll show agents their authorisation, and you would need to, or the agent would then need to provide a copy.
We've lost you, David.
We've lost you.
No, we've lost you, David.
There you are. No, you're back. You're back.
Yeah.
If you could just go through that again, because we did actually have a question come in saying, where in the legislation does it say that fair trading has the ability to enforce a public health order?
Okay.
Oh no, we've lost you again.
No, we lost you again, David.
No, I'm here now. I've turned my phone off.
Oh, good. Okay.
So with regards to who can request a plan?
Yep.
No,
right.
No, we're losing you, David.
Somebody who's authorised. Somebody. Well, you got me. Okay.
That's all right. All good.
Somebody who's authorised. Yeah. Public Health Act. I believe it's section 126.
Yep.
And they will have, look, we've been issued with written authorisation.
Yeah.
So if there's any questions, we're able to produce that authority that we've been issued with.
Cool.
Now,
David,
Yeah, go on.
I'm sorry. No, go on.
No, that's far away.
That's it. In relation to the plan, I've said to people, have you got a plan? And they said, oh yeah, no, tick that box, downloaded it, filled it in, done. And I got the impression then that they thought that having a plan was the end of the obligation, that they weren't actually implementing the plan. So just having a plan doesn't mean that you've satisfied your compliance obligation. The plan is just that. It's a plan to go and do a number of things. So I think it's important that we make that point also.
That's correct. I mean, there's, having a plan that's not completed is just having 4 pieces of paper. Okay, you need to have the plan completed, and then you need to implement the plan. So you're going to address it, and you're going to talk about how you're going to achieve the record keeping areas. But when you're at an auction and open home, you actually have to do it. You can't just have the piece of the plan completed. It's like having a driver's license. You've still got to drive, within the road rules.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
right.
that's what the traders need to be doing. Is they have to have the plan.
Yeah.
They have to implement the plan. So that it's not just having it on a piece on the desk and we're good to go. They need to be ensuring, as with regards to auctions especially, that the people are the right physical distance apart, record keeping is correct, nobody turns up and they're visibly unwell, same as with their staff. These are the steps that they're required. It's not optional. These are the steps that they're required to take to make sure the plan is being implemented.
And so if we can just go back to auctions, and you mentioned, we have the registered bidders on the property, the rest are outside of the property. Do we have to have all of their contact details as well?
No, just the registered bidders.
No? Okay. Okay.
Would it be a challenge to get 200 people's details that are just just come from the next door neighbours? I mean, look at that. It's not a requirement in the plan itself.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the plan, with regards to record keeping, it says that records need to be kept for the name and mobile number or email address of all staff, customers and contractors. For groups, 1 contact is sufficient to support contact tracing.
Okay.
So if you've got mum and dad and the 2 kids that are there and they're registered bidders, you just need to get 1 person's name and contact details from that group of 4.
Okay, well, that's good. It makes that a bit easier as far as discharging obligations.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, and that's also good to know that, because I think there's at least 3 components to this, isn't there? There is having a plan, and then following your plan, and then being able to demonstrate that you have been compliant with your plan. So obviously creating some of those records as well.
Yes.
So this program's already started, right? So agents can expect to see people at your people at opens and auctions pretty much now, right?
Yeah, we've attended 4 open homes today.
Okay.
And it's pleasing to say that everybody had everything that they needed to have.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And the reception that we're getting from people is very positive. So that's.
Oh, I'm really pleased to hear that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think, David, that we have to be saying to ourselves that nobody's enjoying this at all. It's something that we have to do. It's something that we must do. And we don't need to look at the United States and a list of other places to understand why. We've only got to look at Victoria. Now, because the virus got away from us down there, they had to shut the entire state down. And I monitor the number of transactions that takes place each week in New South Wales and Victoria, and for that matter, other locations around the country. And I can tell you that during that time, the number of transactions just went south. And I also know that in real estate practice down there was and no doubt still is a lot of pain. People's incomes just dried up overnight. And that's not something that we want to do. So these are things we have to do in this environment. These are things that we will do to protect our industry and to protect our revenue streams.
Yeah, absolutely. So David, whilst you're out doing this compliance program, will you be looking at other issues at the same time?
Well, with regards, we are, but with regards to this COVID program,
yep.
with regards to auctions, we're checking some basic records when we go out to those auctions.
Yep.
So we're making sure that there's a written reserve recorded somewhere. The auctioneer is appropriately licensed. There's a bidder's record. Just some very basic things that you know, along with the COVID checking, what we don't want to be doing is interfering with the auction.
Sure.
So, you know, the way it flows.
Yep.
So we're speaking with, you know, whoever's in charge from an agent point of view before the auctions and open homes, and then we just take a back seat.
Yeah.
So we just make sure that, you know, we want to be as invisible as we can be. We just want things to flow as normal.
Yeah, good. Okay.
I mean,
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, if there was, look, as I said, if we ended up with 100 people in somebody's front yard, well, then we'd have to step in. But everybody's got enough notice, and for the feedback and the engagement that we're getting, everybody's more than aware of what, you know, the intention of the program, and they're more than happy to participate and assist us, because they can see that it assists them as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Because nobody wants to go back to virtual open homes and virtual auctions.
We do not.
No,
absolutely.
And that's exactly right. And if we all do the right thing, we can continue down this path. It's interesting now we're talking about double donut days, and that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Victoria's up to 12 in a row, so,
they've done
that's
well.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay,
But a lot of pain though, Leanne. A lot of pain to get
massively.
there.
Yeah, massively.
And the last thing we want to do is have to go down that track.
We do not. Have you got any more questions for David?
No, I think David's covered it off completely.
Okay. Anything else, David, that we should be aware of that you want to share with?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, but as I said at the beginning, it's about working with the industry on this one, and together, because, you know, we've all got that common goal of making sure that it stays, you know, the pandemic doesn't take a hold and interfere with people's ability to make an income.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. And I'm so pleased that people are responding well, and you haven't had any issues yet. So fingers crossed that really continues. Good. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for being part of it. Everybody stay on, because we're going to let David go. But Tim and I, as always, have got a few more things to talk to you about.
We do.
Thanks
David. Appreciate your time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, Tim, that's great news, isn't it? That everybody is complying and doing really well.
Yeah, it is good to know. It is good to know that message is getting through. Totally. You have to say to yourself that having as a nation now, as a country and as a state, having COVID under control has real economic value.
Massively.
Not having it under control has real economic detrimental effects. And you've only got to look at Victoria, but you look at Europe now; they're having to shut down Europe in a lot of the countries over there, and we will never know what that is going to cost. No. And so we've got an economic value attaching to having this thing under control. And we've got to protect it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let me see what else. We've got some signage issues. We know we've spoken about signage issues in the Blacktown Shire, but we've got issues in Goulburn.
Yeah, I got a letter from the council in Goulburn telling me that some of the signage down there is not compliant. So, in most council areas, they have what is termed exempt or complying development. So, believe it or not, when you put a sign up, that is actually a development.
Yeah.
And prima facie would need a DA, but the last thing we want to get to is a stage where people are having to make applications through a DA process to put up a for sale sign or for lease sign.
Oh, look, I don't know what's going on in Goulburn, but I've seen some of the signs that are going up in the Blacktown Shire, and quite frankly, they're just bloody ridiculous. And it makes the agents look like their egos are out of control when you've got these signs that are almost the size of the front of the house. It's just, it'd be comical if it wasn't, if it wasn't such a problem.
Yeah, and look, once the sale is done and you put the sold sticker up and that sort of stuff, that sign really should be coming down. And I don't expect it to come down Monday after the auction on Saturday.
It'll come down on settlement. Come on, Tim.
But when it's That's right. But well, when it's there 3 months later, that's that you are asking for trouble. I remember having to go
It's not
out.
just that though, is it? It's the size of the signs as
Oh
well.
yeah. I had to get, just for your entertainment, I had to go out some years ago now out to Pittwater Council, and because they had some issues out there, and anyway, I said, well, what are the problems? And they were really good to deal with, but what had happened, this person, this agent had put a sign actually on the footpath and then run an extension cord over and outside onto the road and had one of those lamps at the end of the they're shining up onto the sign. Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense. Can't help stupid, as we say.
Yeah. So it was a hard one to defend.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So there's also, we've had the issue of people just forgetting to renew their license, and they've got licenses that aren't.
Yeah, look, and I have to say, I just don't have any sympathy for this.
No.
There's no need to to have that happen with all the electronic diaries and everything we got. Like you should take responsibility for it yourself.
Totally.
And you should, but if you can't, the office manager, if any of them are listening, what they should be doing is putting it in their diaries as well. So we've got this sort of crossing to capture it, but it happens way too many times.
It does happen a lot. Yeah,
and then quite often people don't pick it up until after the restoration period.
Yeah,
and the whole agency has been operating without a license.
Yeah, which causes all kinds of issues with the commission that you've been charging during that period, right?
That's right. So it just shouldn't happen.
No. And we've got some new forms that have come out from Fair Trading that the team will share in tonight's EDM.
Yeah. So they're that's right. So they've only just been published.
Okay.
And what we will also be doing is updating our links in the Commissioner's Guidelines manual that we have as well, just so that they're now using the most up-to-date forms, which is good. Just while I'm on that subject of the guidelines, whilst the compliance program in that area, I think, hasn't yet started, the word that I'm getting is that once this COVID thing is kind of under control, and when we heard today from David that that people are doing the right thing, so what will then start to happen, I think energies are going to be put into the compliance program in relation to compliance with the supervision guidelines.
Yes.
So if you haven't got that under control at this stage, you probably need to dedicate some time and energies down that pathway.
And it's not just a matter of having the manual, right? We know that a lot of agencies have got the manual already, ours and other people's, but they have to be tailored to the office, and you have to be able to demonstrate, like you do with your COVID plan, that you are actually implementing it. So don't think just having the manual is enough. You need to get your operations manager or general manager or somebody with an admin focus to actually get it implemented for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
We've updated the traineeship fact sheet as well. There's a lot going on in that traineeship space, isn't there?
Yeah, there's some real opportunities in there for people to take on trainees and get a lot of funding from doing it. I know particularly in the property management area that people are screaming for new people to come on because of all the problems that have been generated by COVID, trying to work with tenants. Particularly, I think now that the residential side of things is smoothing out a little bit, but in the commercial area, I know that they're still struggling. So if you've got a need for somebody in your business, traineeships are a really good way to get them in and get their training, their education and skills in that funded by government. We have access to both state funding and federal funding, and even within those two broad areas, there's a multitude of options. So we can tailor something that responds to your business's exact and unique requirements.
So we've got an updated fact sheet on that. But if somebody wants to actually speak to somebody, who at REI is the most appropriate contact?
Well, probably training, I would have thought, would be the best place to start. Give our training department a call, and they can walk you through it.
Sounds good. Now, State of Origin, we need to win this bloody game tonight, Tim.
No. Don't remind me. So what happened was, in a moment of sticking my chest out and saying we're better than you, I took on a challenge from my counterpart up in REIQ, and the deal is that if I win the series, which I've got a long way home, New South Wales wins the series, then the REIQ has to put our colours on their branding rather than the red that they have, and vice versa. So I'll be sweating bullets tonight watching the State of Origin, because if it goes bad, it's going to go very bad.
Oh dear. All right. Well, fingers crossed. We'll be watching with interest tonight. Anything else before we go?
We are, and it's the perennial one, isn't it? We are still pressing fair trading for a refund of the money they think I'll give up. They don't know me. I will continue to go. So it is there to be.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's so difficult, but we're there. We're also making representations in relation to how long it takes to get a license. A class 2 license to a class 1 registration of stippy. We put out some media a week or so ago about all the problems. That is extremely frustrating.
It is frustrating, but you'll wear them down. You always do. It might take you a while, but you'll wear them down. All right, I will let you get back to your afternoon, and I will look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Yeah, look forward to it, Leanne. I'll see you on Friday.
All right, take care. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.